Have you ever thought about the one rule, the one non-negotiable process that all life has to follow? It's the one thing that separates a species that thrives from one that just disappears. It's the engine driving everything, and today we're going to break down how it works.
All right, just so you know where we're pulling this from, this is part 12 of a 20-part series on an introduction to biology, and it comes to us from Virtualization Options LLC.
No, seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. If this one thing just stopped, right now, all life on Earth would be gone, vanished, in a single generation. We're talking plants, animals, bacteria, everything gone. This isn't just important, it's the master key to survival itself.
So what is it? Well, it's that life's first and maybe only rule is to continue. That's it. Its main job is just to make more life. This is the process that keeps the story of a species from hitting the final page. It's how one generation literally passes the torch onto the next.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Life didn't just find one way to solve this massive problem. Oh no. Over billions of years, it came up with two totally different, totally fundamental strategies to get the job done.
Okay, so let's dive into strategy number 1. We're talking about the asexual method. You can think of this as life's, no frills approach. It's direct, it's efficient, and it's all about one thing, speed.
The idea here is super simple. You've got one parent, and that's it. No fuss, no messing around. And the offspring, they are genetically identical to that parent. It's basically like a biological photocopier. The whole point is to churn out perfect copies, clones, every single time.
And this can happen in a few different ways, There's something called binary fission. That's where a cell, like a bacterium, just splits right in two. Then you've got budding, where a new little organism just kind of grows off the parent, almost like a branch on a tree. And there's even fragmentation, where a piece can break off and grow into a whole new individual. But no matter how it happens, the end result is always the same, a perfect clone.
Now, the advantage here is just insane speed. I mean, a single bacterium can make millions of copies of itself in just one day. It's incredibly efficient. But, yeah, that but you see on the screen, that's a really big one. Because there's a huge fundamental weakness built right into this whole perfect copy strategy.
And that massive vulnerability? Well, that brings us right to strategy number 2, the sexual method. This is the approach that says, you know what? I'll trade all that raw speed for something way more valuable in the long run. So with this method, you've got two parents, and they both contribute genetic material. And the result? The offspring are completely genetically unique. They're a mix of both parents, sure, but they're not identical to either one. So if the asexual method is a photocopier, think of this one as shuffling two decks of cards together and dealing a brand new, totally unique hand.
And this right here is the absolute key. This constant shuffling of genes creates an enormous amount of genetic diversity, or what we call variation, inside a population. And that, my friends, is the real game changer. It's the huge difference between the two strategies.
So that leads to a pretty obvious question, right? If just cloning yourself is so fast and so easy, why would life ever bother with this other way? The one that's way more complicated and takes so much longer. Why isn't every living thing on this planet just a clone? Well, the answer comes down to one of the biggest trade-offs in all of evolution. It's a choice. You can have speed or you can have variation, but it's really, really hard to have both. And this is probably one of the most important strategic decisions life ever had to make. So let's really break this down. On one hand, you've got asexual reproduction. It's super fast, super efficient. You only need one parent. The downside, you're just making clones. And that means if a new disease comes along that can kill one of them, it can kill all of them. Then on the other hand, sexual reproduction. It's slower, yeah, it's way more complex, but all those unique offspring create a population that's way, way more adaptable when things change. So, when it comes down to it, what's the real advantage? In the long, long game of survival, which strategy actually wins? This gets us right to the core of why most of the complex life you see around you, plants, animals, us, chose the slower, more complicated path. And here it is. This is the biggest takeaway of all. That variation, that genetic shuffling we talked about, it provides the actual raw material for evolution to work with.
Think of it like giving a species a really diverse toolkit. So when the environment suddenly changes, a new disease pops up, a new predator arrives, someone in that varied population is just more likely to have the right tool, the right combination of genes to survive. So you see, the really crucial point here is that sexual reproduction isn't just about making more individuals, it's about making the entire species resilient. It's like the ultimate insurance policy against a future you can't predict. It makes the whole group way more adaptable to whatever crazy challenges are coming down the road.
But that leaves us with one final, fascinating puzzle to think about. If variation is so powerful, if it's the key to long-term survival, then why do things like bacteria, which are arguably some of the most successful organisms on the entire planet, still get by just by making perfect copies of themselves? It really makes you think, doesn't it? It seems there's more than one way to win this game of life.